so no front. Kandi and Garrett, yeah, we say what you want. Real life, real stories, yeah, we keep it real. If you're looking for the truth, this is how it feel. Conversations that matter, yeah, we bringing it out. From the highs to the lows, yeah, we talking it out. No fluff.
Hey guys, make sure if you like watching Real Talk with Kandi and Garrett, that you hit that button right below to subscribe. If you're on Spotify or another platform, follow, like. It's super important to do that. We love that you watch, but for the algorithm, it's really important that you also subscribe. All it's going to do is tell you when we have a new episode available, but it's going to create it out there to where other people start seeing it on their platform so they can tune into Real Talk with Garrett and Kandi too. So like, follow, subscribe. Welcome back to Real Talk with Kandi Thompson
and Garrett Gray.
How are you, Mr. Garrett?
We're good. We're good. We're good.
Good week this week.
I mean, so far so good. I know we're kind of right in the middle. We're actually on hump day on this deal. So good. Yeah. Super movie and groovy this week, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kids are getting back into the full-fledged school.
Yeah, that's right.
Pickups and drop-offs have been, immaculate in timing and in retrospect, and then the sleep and the getting back on a plan and getting through summer's excursions and knowing that every weekend we're not going somewhere and the kids are staying home and playing sports.
Yeah.
They're starting to get to
so
it, right?
Fun.
So we haven't had any tremendous blowouts yet, so we're waiting for that to kind of.
And your littlest just started kindergarten.
My littlest just started kindergarten.
TK.
So yeah, TK. Sorry.
Okay.
So my age gaps is 4 to 8 years old.
Okay.
The 4-year-old is turning 5 in April, and then the 8-year-old is turning 9 in October. So it'll be 9 and then 5. So there's a 5-year gap.
Okay. 4.5. Yeah.
So that's the gap that we're having. Which,
so your oldest is in third
grade. Started third grade.
Okay, got it.
He's older in his thing. I think for boys, that's super beneficial. For learning, development, and sports as well too. So he'll be like 19 graduating, which is great.
Oh, he will. Wow, that's
18,
crazy.
19.
You did,
He'll be up there. I'm probably lying. It's probably 18.
No, you're right. But with an October birthday, that does fall right on that cusp.
So when I was in school, I had turned 18 in December, which school gets in. So I was like August, September, October, November, December. So 4 months. And then the rest of the school year, I was 18. Yeah. When I was in. Yeah. So October, he'll be August, September, October. You know what I'm saying? He'll be dang near graduating and then turning 19 that summer or like the beginning of that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's not going to be, it's going to be
No, that's right. No, that's good though. It is awesome. You know, it's interesting because raising kids today, it just seems like a different ball game than when we did. I mean, my girls are only 23, so it's not like it was forever ago, but like I had someone just recently in my office who has a 15-month-old. Wow. And she was asking me like, I mean, they're like, you could tell her daughter was very, very smart. And she was like, so that's why we were kind of thinking about homeschooling, because she's like, hey, what do you think? Like, you were on the school board and like, what do you think about? And I said, I mean, it was kind of interesting just to like think about today. Like if I had kids today, what would that look like? And so I thought there are some unique challenges to raising kids today. But one thing I have to say is, at least for our community, and I'm sure some other communities nationwide have already picked up on this, but in our community, within the last, say, 3 to 5 years, they have amped up kindergarten to another level.
Yes.
So kindergarten used to be
state preschool.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. And then also like, that's the reason that they've started in our community, TK, which is transitional kindergarten, right? Because it's almost like what kindergarten used to be, right? Yeah. So kindergarten, you go half in the morning or in the afternoon. Yeah. And then now though, I mean, they're teaching you to read in kindergarten, which they should be, right? Like that is something that, and so realizing that kids are capable of so much more that you don't have, like, they don't have to just be dumbed down. Like if you challenge them, they rise to the challenge. Right. And so that's really what our community like stepped up.
That's what a parent also hopes too, is that the kid will rise instead of just completely crumble and then have to go backwards. Some kids are that way though. Some kids you have to teach slow and start and get it done. And then some kids you could put in the, a kindergartner in first grade and they will rise and they will figure it out. And the other ones will be like, blah, like just completely torn out, right? I think as they grow, they'll see and they can progress that.
Well, and they kind of teach to the middle of the road.
I
agree. Like they do, they're not. They have people in there who can help the ones who want to excel. They have people in there who help the ones who need to have a little more assistance. And so
this is my thought process. And if we're talking about kids in school right now, my biggest thing is they're starting, and I don't know when it started, and I was kind of talking about it a lot when I was working at the school. So I'm kind of seeing a lot of walks of life of how the school is now, like, how the high schools are and the junior highs compared to what they used to be. And right now I'm seeing a lot of, when you get to the elementary, the primary, and the middle school, it's a lot of push and band-aids, right? Oh, you have a problem. Instead of, and this is the way I'm feeling, this is completely my bias. It could be completely different. I have a kid with an IEP, right? Like we're going through it, right? But I'm starting to see these things as when they're smaller grades, they're trying to get more people into the school because they want more people that go into the school. They can potentially get more state money for their products or whatever they need. Which
just money County, for school in general.
Which County we do need, right? We totally get that. But it's starting to feel like they're trying to pump more classes up and push more kids through. And then when they have a problem, they're trying their best to work it, but there comes to a point to where they just stick a Band-Aid over it and say, you have an IEP, you have a learning disability. Instead of let's trying to get you over that hump and give you some, working, we're just going to keep pushing you through, keep pushing you through, keep pushing you through, keep pushing you through. And then they get to the high school and then all they've known is this IEP and someone is going to come and help me with this test. And then the people that are helping with the test, I don't know, I've never sat in one of those to see, but I can only speak from what information I've gathered because there was a kid when I was out recruiting and it was 2017, right? And I'm recruiting high schoolers, these 17, 18-year-olds, right? This kid had graduated 1 year ago. So it was 2018 he graduated. I got there 2019, 2020. I'm trying to recruit him. He's not working anywhere. He had a job at Starbucks, right? And he's like, I'm just going nowhere. I don't know what to do. He played football, but he was a little, in my brain now, knowing he's a little slow, right? But he was told he was slow.
That's right.
He was given IEPs. I was like, okay, this is how this is going to go. We're going to take you back. I'm going to have a couple questions. We're going to get you on what's called an EAST, right? Means that it's a electronic shortened test for the ASVAB to see what your aptitude score might be, right? It's not the 3-hour test. It's a 5-minute test to see where you're going to go. I need you to pass some numbers because if you can get past that, we can really have a conversation. And then your goals might be able to be a possibility of getting in the military,
absolutely.
Right? Like I would hate to talk to you and tell you how great this is if you weren't, you know what I'm saying? And he goes, well, I have an IEP. Does that help me with the ASVAB? And I'm like, oh, what is an
He's an adult.
Yeah, he's an adult at this point. I'm like, what is an IEP? He's like, okay, well, an IEP, and this is how he's getting it too, is that it's someone that is able to come into your classroom when you have to take a test and able to help you with your test. So it's not the fact that it was a learning disability that he was told he had, right? It was, oh, no, it's someone, it means that someone can help me with my tests. Is how he figured it out. And I'm like, that's not even the right way. Now knowing what an IEP is, that's not right. It's just giving you extra learning ability and time to learn.
So for those of you who do not know, an IEP is an independent education plan.
Right.
So when you have a child who just is not kind of getting it, like they're not getting it with the regular, course of learning, they need a little more assistance. There's nothing wrong with them. They don't need to go to special education. It's not, there's no learning disabilities. They just need a little bit more assistance. That's an independent education plan. So it's called an IEP.
It's saying, hey, this person just needs a little bit more extra time during this study or this thing. Or
just during a project, a specific subject.
Right.
And so I can tell you, having been on the school board in our community, people used to just be slapped IEPs left and right. It was our average compared to the average of other schools was astronomical on how many kids had IEPs. So that was the Band-Aid.
Right.
The Band-Aid was, I have to take a little bit more time as a teacher and work with this kid versus the teacher's the one that actually recommends them for the IEP. So they just were recommending kids for IEPs. So I have to say in the last 3 to 5 years, that stopped in our community. They stopped doing that because it was, it's actually a negative. Like you don't want to do that. First of all, you don't want to put that on the kid to make them feel like they have some kind of an assistance
problem. Yeah. Which isn't the thing. They just needed a little bit more extra time, right? Now, when I was a kid, I probably had an IEP and all this stuff, but I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Because my parents are doing all behind the scenes, and they said, okay, this is where he needs to go to. This is where we're. I mean, like, I'm not saying I did or didn't, but I didn't know. The kids nowadays, they know. Now the middle schoolers, I would say, once you start getting to that middle school, but elementary and primary, it probably is a good time to have an IEP.
Yeah.
The kids shouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
That you tell them, hey, we're going to get you some extra learning. You're going to go here. You're going to do here. You're going to go here. And then, but by the time they get to middle school and high school, I feel like that they should not be a component in that discussion, because the IEP is now turning into a whole different thing. They need specific learning areas. They need to go this area for a test. They need to take a 5-minute walk now, because they can't just sit still. Yeah. Right? Like, they need for every 5 minutes of instruction, they need 2 minutes to go outside. But these kids aren't just going 2 minutes and walking outside or sitting outside. These kids are going outside, going into the bathroom, hanging out for 25 minutes, coming back out, and they're using this and saying, well, I have an IEP. So it's turning into a whole different realm, because then you say something like, well, you can't do that. Well, no, and you fight, and it just is a whole, exactly.
Well, it is true, because there is a special protection on students that have IEPs. There really is. Right. And so it is a thing for sure. And it is, but I mean, here's what I learned. When my kids were in school, I didn't know what I didn't know, right?
Right.
And so I just did, I always learned, like, you're either a parent that, like, does crafts and education, or you're a parent that wrestles. Like, as a mom, you're either a wrestling mom or you're like a crafting mom, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like usually those two don't mix, right?
Well, so I'll tell you, I think Maddie got chosen. She didn't get to choose, right? Like, she probably wants to be the crafting mom. She's not the crafting mom. She has two
boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Well, we totally were. And so we got to do all this. And I mean, I'm the baby of 5 kids. I didn't have anybody below me. I didn't have any example of what it was like to raise another kid, right? So we're just doing the best that we can do, knowing what we do. But I'm like an educator. Like, that's just my brain. It's how it works, right? So my kids are going into kindergarten. They were reading Charlotte's Web going into kindergarten. But I don't know whether that's normal or not. I have no idea. I just know that that's what we did, right? So it's funny though, because then your kid gets in there, and it's almost is equal of a concern on having your kid almost be at too high of a level than, and as well as too low, like, you're concerned about them as well. And so from the time they were in kindergarten, they kept wanting to bump my girls up. And so here's a couple of things, parenting tips for parents with young kids. I learned very early on, when someone asks how your kids are, hey, how are you? How are the girls? They're not meaning that they want you to actually tell them how your kids are actually doing. Because if they're doing really well, now they think you're, like, comparing to theirs. And, like, it's the weirdest thing. That was the weirdest thing for me. I was like, oh, I don't think they actually mean how are my kids, because now it's a competition. Now I'm like humble bragging. I'm not humble bragging. You asked how my kids are doing, and this is actually how they're doing.
To some people, I think that, but to most people,
no, it was. I learned very quickly.
To most people, That's just like asking how you are doing. Like, how are you doing? Like, doing great. No, but I'm doing well. Yep. Hey, another day, another dollar. Hey, another day above the ground is a good day, right? You know what I'm saying?
Isn't that funny though?
No one ever really wants to hear your full story.
Yours, but when they're asking about your kids, you're proud about your kids. Right. So you're like, you want to tell them, like, oh my gosh, they did so good. Like, she scored a goal, or she did this, or she got an A, or she was chosen for spelling bee, whatever it is. I learned very early on, you don't do that, because they compare, and now it's a competition. So now they have to almost feel like they have to, no, not even one up. Like, they have to feel like they're, like, having to defend their kid. No, like, you don't even know what their kid's doing. Like, so it's so here I am now at 50 with 23-year-old kids. And my girls are doing well. I guess
I've never felt that way though.
No, it was a very real thing. Yeah. Like, it was very real. And so for parents that feel that, drop it in the comments, because it was very real for me. It was like it was just a competition. And I thought, oh gosh, I would like celebrate what other kids, whatever. If they said something was happening, awesome, I would be like, oh my gosh, that is so exciting.
So I use it to gauge whether or not we can get our kids together.
Yeah, that's
you know what
hilarious.
I'm saying? So
yeah.
like, hey, they're like, hey, how are the kids doing? And I always say, good, they're good, they're good. Growing like weeds, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the normal.
yeah.
I wait for the follow-up question. So are they playing any sports? Are they doing anything?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're waiting for that second probing
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
And then I go, oh yeah, dude, they're playing sports. We got them in karate.
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
kind of go into what they're doing.
Right.
But if they end it, how are the kids? I'm like, oh man, good. Growing like weeds, running
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. Got to
Yeah,
invest
it's like
in some
the last-
drywall,
yeah.
right? And then they go, oh yeah.
That's hilarious.
And then I'll be like,
Garrett.
okay, they didn't care.
That's hilarious.
But then when they go, oh, dude, are they doing anything? Where do you got them in? Like, how old are they
so
now?
that's the key, guys. Wait for the follow-up
I wait for the follow-up, and then we converse.
Okay.
And then if they have kids around my age, or if they have kids too, I'm like, yeah. How are your kids doing? Are they playing soccer too? I mean, are we going to play against each other? And then we kind of get into the whole thing. But then I get into where if they're willing to ask about my kids and talk about their kids, like together, and we kind of see and they have similarities, I'd be like, see, these are the parents that I would want to have my kids associate with. Like, right? They care. They matter. They care about my family. I would care about their family. I'm a very caring person.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like if you're going to ask about my family, I'm going to ask about yours.
100%.
And I do care. And I'm like, dude, this is how the community is built.
Yes.
But if you don't really care, I'm not going to go into the depth, and I'm like, all right, cool. Don't ask.
Well, and I feel like people that say, how are your kids? They genuinely care. Like, why would you even say that? Like, no, I learned. It was a learning experience. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I learned that when they say, how are your kids? You go, oh, they're doing really good. Super happy. Everything's good. And then, or I felt like a lot of times, like even with people, other parents, like you're dealing with stuff in your own house with your kids.
Of course.
And you think it's only your kids. Like, oh my gosh, they never put their towels away. Oh my gosh, can they possibly do this? Can they? And then you get out and you're like, oh, every kid is like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's kind of healthy to have conversations. Like, I think play groups are good. I think having conversations with other parents are good because it does help you feel like you're normal also. But when you have to be guarded, so here I am at 50 years old and my kids, you ask me how my kids are doing today, you are going to hear. Because I am proud of my kids and I am not holding back. So if you don't want to know.
Story about 3 times to random strangers because they'll just be like, oh yeah, oh, okay, cool. And you're like, okay, you have kids? And like, yeah. And then it would just go TCU, Mick George, law school, the best in the planet.
Masters,
and I'm like,
job,
good, killing it. Yeah. I was
because I think, I don't care anymore.
You paid for it too, though.
You ask me how my kids are doing, you are going to hear. I'm not. Yeah. So my kid said yesterday to me, hey, Mom, it's kind of embarrassing when you say how we're doing in front of people.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing that they're doing so good. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Right.
They have to be embarrassed that they're doing well.
Yeah.
Like they're like, Mom, it's just kind of humble bragging. I go, oh no, there's no humble about it. Yeah, I'm not humble bragging.
Yeah.
I'm saying my kids are doing awesome. You want to know about my nieces and nephew? I'm going to tell you how they're doing too. You want to know how my mom is? I'm going to tell you how she's doing too. Like, if you're going to ask me at 50 years old how my family's doing, I'm going to tell you because I'm done playing this game. I've been playing it for 23 years. And guess what? My kids are still doing good. So I'm going to tell you. And at the end of the day, you would want to, like, I always feel like I want to learn from someone. I used to give this advice, like, don't take advice from anyone that you wouldn't want their life. Right? So someone's giving you advice, you look at them and you're like, okay, they're giving me parenting advice, but I would never raise my kids the way they're raising their kids. So I'm probably not going to take that advice, right? But if you think that like, okay, there's value in what they've done, I probably should hear what they're saying. Like, so that's what this parent that asked me the other day.
Right?
Yeah. And I want you to know, it has nothing to do with me. A parent could do all the same things that we've done and have kids that aren't ambitious or aren't. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the girls. It has to do with their drive, their desire, their work ethic. It has to do with them. So we guided them in the right direction and kind of, when they were getting off the track, kind of bumped them back on track. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's their choice. That's not our choice. I'm proud. And that's why I'm proud of them.
I'd rather have my kids start doing crazy stuff now and learning now than later. Right? Like, like get it through. Like, okay. And Maddie will do, well, stop him. I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah. They're going to learn it now.
Let him do this.
Yeah.
Let him figure it out. If he burns and trust me, I would get in the way if I knew that
an arm
was getting snapped off or someone's dying, right? Like, but with this, I'm like, no. Let him do it. He's either going to hurt himself and figure it out real quick, or he's going to learn how to do it right. Yeah. So, okay. And then we let him do it, and then they get hurt, and then like, okay. So after they're done crying, what did you learn from that, right? Like, if you want to do it again, do it again.
Yeah.
But like, let's do it the right way this time,
learn.
right?
Yes.
Well, my kids are the same way as like me. I would not listen to anybody in the world even if they were Jimmy Neutron trying to build a rocket, right? Would not listen to him. I had to figure it out myself.
The Bill Nye, the science guy?
Bill Nye, the science guy. I had to figure it out myself before I would let anybody tell me, and I had to fail.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was that way.
And a lot of kids are like that. I think that it is a good practice, though. I mean, we know that they're going to learn more by trying it out themselves. I think that for me, like when your kids are younger and they're doing well, you're taking credit for it, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that's why like you're kind of like cautious on what you're saying. Today, this isn't me doing this. This is my kids. So when I'm bragging about them, I'm not bragging about myself. I'm bragging about them, you know?
Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. Like you're bragging because they have done so much. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm also to the point too is no one needs to know how my kids are doing.
True.
I don't care about anybody else's opinion about other than mine how my kids are doing. Because they're not paying my bills. They're not feeding them. They're not doing anything. Right. So regardless if they ask how my kids are doing and I answer however way I want to answer, I could care less if I tell anybody how they're doing. I don't put them on social media. I don't brag about them on anything else because it's not for anybody else. I'm the one raising them. My wife's the one raising them. I want all that joy ourselves. Now, if someone wants to come and enjoy that joy with us and be there and see and happy and be, then cool. But if not, then you know what? Cool, man.
Well, and I think people that ask how your kids are people that like genuinely know you. I mean, I usually get it from people who know my girls. Maybe they had someone who was raised with them. Maybe they've known us for a long time. I mean, we've been in a community for their whole life, you know?
Right.
So like they've watched them on this journey. And so they do genuinely are curious. Like, what are they doing? I mean, when I ask that to other people, like, I really want to know what their kids are doing. I am your biggest cheerleader. Like, I want to know whatever they're doing, whatever things even if it's a small accomplishment, even if they struggled and now they're doing well, even like, I want to be able to be a cheerleader and encourage with you, you know? Yeah. So that was one thing that I thought was kind of interesting in raising kids. And what I learned was like, it's kind of like it's a can dancer, right? You know? And I do.
It's a can dancer.
It is a can dancer.
It's church talk.
It is, yeah. And so now, like, I was looking though at like what she was concerned about her kids going in school. So I did share what the schools in our area, like that kindergarten is actually amped up. And then another thing that, you know, I have watched families do, keep in mind we're a Christian family. And so when our kids would say, Mom, can we do this? Or can we have that? Or so-and-so can do this or so-and-so can do that. Well, you know, if you want to compare families, compare like to like, right? Like we live a different lifestyle than that family, or we have different beliefs than that family, you know? But one thing that we never really wanted to do was to limit our kids. Like, you know, I felt like we could say, you know, we don't want you to watch any TV. Like all TV is negative. It's so crazy. It's so bad, right? I mean, when my girls were growing up, it was Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place, you know, the Sweet Boys. What were those? Zach and Cody.
Zach and Cody.
Yeah, Sweet Life. Yeah. I mean, it was like, it was all
Disney.
But
now all those Disney kids.
Yeah. No, literally, yes.
Holes get Drake and Josh. Yeah, no, I get it.
And so but one thing that Adam and I committed to during that time was, we never used TV or any kind of a device as a babysitter, ever. So I always knew what they were on. I always knew. And their shows, we would sit and watch them with them because we didn't let them just watch open-ended shows. You know, like we really did sit with them and watch the show. Yeah. And what was fun about that was, by doing that, I mean, those shows are actually pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I loved them. Yeah. I watched every episode of Hannah Montana probably twice. I watched the High School Musical trilogy. I mean, we've done High School Musical marathons multiple times.
Not to cut off track here, did you know High School Musical at the age it was when it was made to today, it's the same when I was growing up to Grease?
No.
So Grease and Me, and then High School Musical, and now is the exact same time frame.
Crazy. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Well, they're just some really cute shows.
Oh, no,
And
I agree.
We would watch them with our girls. And then that way we understood their inside jokes. Like we used the stuff that would happen in there that may not be the most desirable as a teaching opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys think about that? How do you feel about that? What would you do in this situation? Like we kind of used it as a teaching opportunity, but it also kept us very involved with our kids and knowing what they were seeing and what they were watching. And thankfully, they're kind of entertaining shows, right? Like it was, and that was one thing that was so fun for my girls for Halloween one time because they're identical twins. They were Hannah Montana. So one of them was Hannah and one of them was Miley. Isn't that so funny?
That's pretty funny.
It was so fun. Yeah. So anyway, that is one thing that I do recommend to parents. Like if you do have the opportunity to do that, to like be involved with them, sit down and watch what they're watching.
We've also had a conversation about this too, is kids being bored. They have to be comfortable being bored. There's so much stuff nowadays to where it can keep a kid entertained. That's not always beneficial. They need to figure out how to be bored and then how to be okay with being bored.
You know, and I'm not even so certain that it's like how to be bored because you're talking to a girl who does not do well being bored.
Well, I'm just saying there's other things that they can go be doing, right? Like,
no, for real, but letting them figure it out.
Yeah,
That's the thing, like not having to constantly be entertained. That's what you're meaning.
Something going on 24/7. Like, okay, like my kids, when they get home, it's just, I go outside. Don't even come back in, just play in the yard, and they'll figure out they're digging holes, they're playing the mud, they're building racetracks, they're, doing the boy stuff, right? When dinner starts kind of coming down to soup down, we'll probably watch one show, and then once the show happens, then we eat dinner, and then we go to bed, right? But like it's not come home, turn the TV on, relax, sit down and do that, say like go run some energy, go figure out what you want to play with or what you want. They have toys galore, but if we're watching TV all day, they're not playing with toys galore. Right. And then if they're playing with toys galore and watching TV, their brain is getting overloaded, I feel like, with so much stuff going on. Right.
And there's a difference. Like when you're looking at like my generation and how we were raised, you couldn't watch TV all day.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to watch?
Well, that was my generation.
You can watch anything now.
Oh,
now you can watch anything, but at any time, and you can binge watch it for 16 days if you want to.
Oh,
but
now it's insane.
You had to watch when the time something was on.
Right.
So like they had after school programs, like getting one to grow on. They had one to grow ons, and because they knew the kids were watching, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or I knew when I got out, I had all my cartoons coming out right then. You had Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then Pokemon right there in the row. As soon as I got home. Yeah. And I was like, perfect. So I catch it every day when I got home. Yeah. I'd eat my lunch or whatever, and then I'd go play, right?
Well, and that's what was so funny about commercials, too. Like, commercials catered to the people that were watching during that time, right? So during the time that,
toys
it was so funny, the commercial whole thing. And so, very, very interesting. But I do think that today, making sure that you're engaged with whatever they're doing. So, devices, right? There's a lot of people that are like, oh, my kid's not going to have a cell phone. Now, cell phones were out when my kids were in elementary school. I mean, obviously they were out, but like we did not give my girls a cell phone while up through 5th grade. They did not have a cell phone. That was not something that we were doing. And so we did, and we make sure that it's okay. So we did they had like the iPod, whatever Pros or whatever, where it was kind of like a telephone, but it wasn't.
And you get an app on it with the internet and da-da-da.
Now today, though, you guys definitely make sure that you're putting the devices on or the apps. There's so many protections even built into these phones now. That used to be that they were apps that you had to upload. The protections were not already in the phones or in the iPods, and so now they are. But I really felt like we are crippling our kids if we're not giving them devices. If we're not teaching them the internet, they are going to grow up and they are not going to, we're crippling them.
I see your point, but I also think there's like a timeline.
No, 100%. Right? My girls didn't they got a phone when they went into 6th grade. Yeah. Because now they're in junior high. Right. They're switching classes. They have practices after school. That's about the time
I got a cell phone because I went from Cedar Creek to Ione. Once I went to Ione, my mom and dad were like, but it was flip phone, Yeah. I mean, Blackberries barely came out at that point, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like I had access
not a
all the time.
Smartphone, yeah.
I didn't have access to the internet. I just had access to memorize 8 numbers.
Yeah.
10 numbers, 8 numbers. You guys tracking this, right? I had to memorize 8 cell phone numbers or 8 home phone numbers, and each phone number had 10 sequential numbers, okay? People don't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
No. Yeah, they don't. You know, it's funny because we used to have to know everyone's phone number.
Right.
Remember? Like every single person we knew, we'd have to know their phone number.
I made jingles to them. My mom's, my dad's, the phone number, the home number, my mom's business number, my dad's business number, my grandparents' number, and one friend.
Yeah.
One friend.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. You know, I just saw something recently, and I'm going to have to look it up to know if I think it was California wide. It was on the news in Sacramento, and it was talking about kids going back to school right now, and that they're actually there's like a statewide thing that has limited their cell phones.
Really?
So yes, like, I mean, like literally they're not allowed to have their cell phones at school basically. And I'm talking on breaks, at lunch.
Yeah.
Like they were talking about how kids are now actually communicating again at lunch. Like it's noisy and you can hear kids. And I thought that is so interesting. And I don't know exactly the specifics of it, but I do know that it's something that's happened this school year.
Well, that's a great question. And I want to bring it to the audience too, is what do you guys believe? Cell phones in the school or cell phones completely out of school? And I'm talking like either all in or all out.
Yeah.
There's no in the middle of the road. Because that's what's going to have to be. Either we allow the phones to be in the class all the time, right? And then you really can't give parameters at that point because they're going to use it whatever. Yeah. Or you ex-nade them from when they step on campus to the time that they leave on campus. And I already see some points of, well, what if I need to get a hold of my student? Call the office. Yeah. You need to be able to take their distractions away. And that is the number one distraction where they feel like even check your guys' self. I'm the same way, right? I'll be in a conversation with somebody and then I'll have that phantom ring in my pocket and then I'll pull it out and then I'll be like, oh, nothing happened. But then I'll instantly gravitate to, let me check my emails real quick. Let me check my other email real quick. And I'll be like, oh, shoot, dude, I was totally in a conversation with you. I'm so sorry. Right? So I think they need to be all the way out. And during that time, they need to be learning. They need to get that instruction in there. And I think the teachers would have a whole big ball at it too. But then the teachers have to understand they might have to give their phones up as well.
No, it's true. It's so true. And, I know that there are some teachers that use it like, hey, search on your phone. Like, hey, look this up really quick. Or, there's Kahoot. In Kahoots is a program that like they can play games.
Just Kahoots.
Is it Kahoots?
We're not in Kahoots.
We're not in Kahoots. It's Kahoots. Yeah. Are you so proud of me for even knowing that though? Yeah. Kahoots is a program that's kind of fun. And it's like where you have your phone and you can like play like a quiz. Yeah, so if the teachers want to create a quiz about the information that you just learned and you've got your phone and you log in and you get to choose the answer and then it puts up how many people.
Sports and scores and
things like it's that. Fun. There would be like, hey, grab your phones, you can use it. But that's when you
use their Chromebooks.
Oh, okay.
Their Chromebooks would attach to it.
Okay, that's true. I never even thought about that.
Every kid gets a Chromebook.
Oh, that's so true.
So there are Chromebooks attached to it. They do. There is no singular reason why a cell phone from a kid needs to be allowed on the campus.
I never even thought about that. The Chromebooks were accessible when my girls were in high school, but they had a cart and there was only so many classrooms that had them. So like they didn't all get a Chromebook.
Now they are given a Chromebook in high school, and I think junior high, they are given a Chromebook as soon as they get in, and that is their Chromebook for the 4 years of school.
Wow. That's so interesting. Well, great. I mean, it's nice to be able to give them the devices.
It's like a book. So instead of putting out a bunch of books, I get it. I think it's cool. But these kids think that because they didn't pay for it, again, just like our meeting yesterday, because they didn't pay for it, dude, they're over there running it over, breaking them, throwing them like Frisbees. Like they do not care about them. And then they'll die and be like, oh, now it's the paperweight because I lost my charger. Yeah. Because they literally are not told any responsibility whatsoever. It's like, why are you the way you are? Why do you have to just be destructive? Yeah. Go destroy your home. Yeah. Don't come over here and destroy
You're talking to an ex-campus supervisor here.
It just drives me nuts because you're trying to help them too, right? Like, come on.
No, it's true. It's very true. Well, I think that we would love, it's fun because when you look back today and you say like the things that you did that you could have done different or how kids are being raised today. Yeah. It's just interesting. Is that exactly what just happened?
No, I was hoping I wasn't late for my board of directors meeting.
Okay, got it.
I was like, they weren't calling me. Got it.
It
wasn't important. Once they start calling me, then I'm late.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, so Anyway, that was, you guys, we would love to know what you think about kids in school right now. What are your challenges? What do you think are a benefit?
Yeah.
Like from when you were in school, what do you feel like? Drop that in the comments. We're kind of curious what you guys say.
And also, at the end of the day, we know a lot of people in the county, right? Between me and Kandi, I would say we at least know 95% of the county.
It's probably true.
And then sprinkle Adam, he's got the other 5%.
Yeah, that's right.
But what I want you guys to know is that if you need help or you need support or you need child services or you need a direction, let us know. Put it in the comments and see like how we can get you maybe connected with the people that you need to be connected with, right? We do know a lot of homeschool companies that are out here. If you want to put your information in there, I mean, there's different parameters and different directions. But if you don't know, we would love to help you, give you that source, right? Because you don't know what you don't know.
And if you're not even in our county, we can point you in the right direction. We have had enough experiences to where we can kind of guide you in the right direction on who to communicate for questions about an IEP, for questions about, parenting advice, parenting classes, anything. There's so many resources out there available to you in whatever community that you live in, that it is, I feel like parenting is the most important job you're ever going to do in your whole life.
And if you're a behavioral specialist, we want to interview you. We want to see what you're doing today that didn't maybe work then, or maybe you're progressing for the future. That would be something that we would love to bring on. So
please
hit
connect
us up.
with us. Yeah.
You guys can either message us on our email, which is
realtalkwkg@gmail.com.
That would be a perfect way to get a hold of us, or just send a comment below and we'll get a hold of you.
That's right. And we'll even, it doesn't matter where you are. We have a platform that we can just split the screen 3 ways, but we would love to be able to talk to you on advice that you have for parents raising kids today with all of the challenges and all of the positives, right? So
great note. Don't forget, like, share, follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you have someone that might want to learn some parenting tips, you should send them this video.
That's right. Share. That's a good point. You guys have a great week. The views and opinions expressed on Real Talk with Kandi and Garrett are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Real Talk with Kandi and Garrett, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Divine Properties, their affiliates, sponsors, advertisers, or any organizations discussed on this program. This podcast is provided for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered legal, financial, tax, real estate, medical, or professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate information, we make no representations or warranties regarding its completeness or reliability. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that Real Talk with Kandi and Garrett, Kandi Thompson, Garrett Gray, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Divine Properties, their affiliates, guests, sponsors, advertisers, and all associated parties shall not be held liable for any actions, decisions, losses, damages, claims, or consequences arising from the use of or reliance upon any content presented in this podcast.